Stock market, S&P 500. This is scary. I'm going to show you comparing 2008 to 2022. You got to ask the question, is this valid, or what part of it is valid? This is really interesting. Here's a chart, and I give credit to Wall Street Silver. Wall Street Silver is a website that had published this in a tweet. And I just took further analysis from what they put out, which was a comparison of the 2008 market to 2022. And you can see in here, well, I have it labeled as the 2007 peak there, and comparing it with the 2001 peak. It was actually 2002 January, but some indexes were late in 2021, so that's why I have it labeled that way. This is incredibly interesting. So here is your peak here in 2007. And from that peak in 2007, over a period of about 5.6 months, peak to trough, it fell 16.7% and then had a rebound. Remember, 5.6 months is what that did right there. Here, from that peak here right at the end of the year to this decline there, peak to trough, 5.5 months. And look at these patterns in here, how close they are, how similar they are in that decline. I had to show you this once I saw Wall Street Silver put that up. This decline here this year is 24.5% peak to trough. And again, almost a very similar time frame. So I wanted you to see how close that was. Now, we're going to look at the next slide, but you can see in here that there was a rally that came off of there. And that rally, based on during that time frame, was about 13.1%. You can see now I scooted the chart a little up here, and you could see that rally in here of about 13.1%. It got up here into the resistance zone between the major 50 and the major 61.8%. That was after this 16.7% decline, but then you can see it move to the downside again. If you extrapolate off of that, and of course you're taking a leap when you do that in here, because every market isn't exactly the same, though this one looks almost that way, you know, that would give you a rally in here of over 13%. Now that would only get you over the major 38.2% to about 4,100. The question is, did this bottom form already? Our analysis showed it was coming out a little bit later than where we have this bottom right now. And I'll show you a little more of that analysis as we move forward. But you'd get this rally up over here over 4,100, maybe 4,200, and then move down again, because if you follow the same pattern in here. I'm just projecting out there using the analysis of the comparison between 2007 peak and the 2021 peak. And now let's look a little bit further, and you can see in here, well, what happened back after that 13% rally? Well, you had that nice rally, and then you had that big decline that got lower than that low. You can see I have the projection right over here as it would move out into October, November of this year on the downside. We actually have September, October is the likely declining period. If you compared the fact that it lost 53% from the peak of that bounce, that would take you down to 2,100 to 2,300 on the S&P 500. But being that this year the rally was 24.5%, much bigger than in 2008, I'm going to give it credit for not having that kind of a decline and it not being a complete washout of over 50% in the whole bear market, and my target down around 3,200 on the S&P 500, and that would come out potentially into the beginning of next year before this whole thing is formed. Remember, this decline here fell to 666 in the absolute panic after Lehman and Bear Stearns, and just this absolutely brutal unwinding of this bubble that was created, of course, by the Fed and by the government, where they allowed mortgages to be, well, you could buy something and even get 25% back in your pocket. So there was insanity going on at that time, and the washout was absolutely huge. I'm going to say 3,200 on the downside by early part of next year, and that will be what the bear market looks like. So I don't think it's going to be that big, but those are the comparisons, and I thought it was important to bring that to you as you see here, looking at the pattern way back over here, where you can see that beautiful comparison of the 2007 peak versus the peak at the beginning of this year, and how that perfectly looked, and the extrapolation of the rally to 4,100 in the bounce, and then the move down into maybe September, October, and then I think that move continues to the downside into the early part of next year to extend that bear market. So that's the comparison. That's me extrapolating from that and telling you what I think is going to happen if that comparison were to continue.